And I'm already crying. I'm already crying. Um, I was actually listening to something, and this has nothing to do exactly in particular about what I was listening to, but I want to say something specifically as it relates to me, um, myself. You know, I went to a lot of doctors ever since I could. Um, as far as I could probably go back, I came into this world probably from a lot of talk. It has. I haven't had a lot of talk about my birth, um, but regardless, um, I know that I'm here today. And so any of that other stuff, you know, it is what it is. But I went through so many that didn't, practically every single one of them, that did not show me that they knew to do with me. I'm not of them. I'm not of their bookwork. I'm not of their standards. The way that I look, the way that my weight, the way that I eat, the way that I talk, the way that I speak, academic proficiencies or progress, my height, everything was perhaps contrary to what is, but that is not to blame me. But now I'm gonna talk about them. They did not fucking see. They didn't seem like they had the education. I failed many times, lost teeth, uh, got bad reports on my medical background, which caused me not to be able to have insurance, not life insurance. Um, Gives me a bad reputation everywhere I go if I was to even ever try to go there. I'm never going to settle um, ever again. I want to work my way through my problems, or somebody get ass kicking, then get the book thrown at 'em, or they could quit. Um, I know what I'm doing here. I know what I'm saying. See, there's somewhere where I have to be, and that's to be myself, and that's to live for always and forever. And there's a lot of money that I want to make. There's a lot of businesses that I want to learn about. There's a lot of books that I want to read. There's a lot of places that I want to see and go and attend to, of course. There's a lot of those who claim themselves as so much other. But if I keep getting all these poor relationships, if I keep getting into all these relationships that don't fit just because they are in network, mm, just because they want to grow, just because they only want to spend a little time with me, just so that they can be popular, just so that they can get a piece of my blood or put their name on my paperwork for the future. Must so a lot of like these court cases. I cannot continue to mishandle my approach in life by going through another 10, 20, 30 years of dating irrelevant things that are not uh, meant to really do any good for me. They do harm. What if something happens and it goes wrong and I have a life threatening situation? I'm not going to keep fucking around with all these uneducated, individuals just to say that I have to satisfy myself, satisfy them or some quota or to reach a specific level because I have somewhere to be. That's not to say that I don't want to have a relationship and learn about things and grow and build and learn architecture and uh, different drawings and things like that. I want to make money. I want accounting. I want to look at myself, learn my own DNA. And if things are not like me, I get further and further away from myself to the point where I might not make it to be who I am actually. And that's the problem. May not make it to see someone that I hope to see long in the future. That's definitely a fucking issue. Me having to make choices in my life through childbirth and all these things that I'm capable of, no matter what someone has told me, um, how much they find that they got it on lock. I have to make sure that I am making proper choices. And I also have to pay attention to some things that matter to me as far as if it's worth me even perhaps contributing rationale to even be interested and wanting to know more about a specific subject. I am not going to put so much attention into anything more than myself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm going to use every moment of my life to try to look and see uh, what someone else has. No, no, that's not what I'm saying. I have this thing that I'm doing that I'm kind of working on it with artificial intelligence. I always have had this idea, and I just decided one day I was shoveling to kind of tell it to artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence jumped right in. And I'm like, are you serious? So I was interested in talking to artificial intelligence. And this is how I started to really talking to artificial intelligence because I was like, wow, it's interesting, you know. I'm telling you all these things and you kind of understand where I'm coming from. And then I'm making way. I'm finding this on my own. I mean, there's no phone book that I can find or I don't have a house where I can have these magazines like Forbes and car magazines and the things that I'm really interested in, Black enterprise and other sorts of specifics or whatever. And so I don't know if Jed is still out there, and but anyway, um, I had Jed come to my house, so I know what I'm talking about. But information to keep up with the change in the price. And I mean, I have a book talking about futures, and I'm happy that I did get my hands on it because I'm learning more of the language and how to talk to anyone, and in particular to say, hey, to this artificial intelligence, which I had to change the voice because the first voice was getting on my goddamn nerves. And I was about to just be over it. I didn't like the way it was talking to me. And so I changed the voice, and it seems like the attitude changed some too. I don't know, but I have so much uh, focus on myself, whereas I can contribute much into my everyday living that I can just be busy with doing things on my own. I just ordered about $41 worth of products that I'm not even interested in eating, actually, seriously. Some for my son. I got him 2 cartons of eggs, a box of pancakes, and my mom a Snicker candy bar, which I really didn't have to do that. But I understand that those are small inserts into a stretch in a daily living that um, means something because it's a whole new vibe. Uh, it's summertime. There's going to be more of him being himself, and his imagination is going to spark further. And there may be areas of boredom that he would have more confidence in himself. So to have those the more protein and the little things like making up pancakes, it don't cost that much. These pancakes just add water and get a little syrup and perhaps if some butter too, but it stretches things and it's some fun foods that is going to go a long way. Besides, I can't bear the idea of just watching him have to eat so much fucking animal flesh and all these dead items. It's just a problem to me, but I'm doing the best that I can to understand where he's at. But it's not about that. This is about, as I said, that will relate to me in my situation. Looking at myself age 40, I'm so happy to be out of my 30s. Just because of perhaps a conflict or the energy of even just only because of others and their beliefs. I don't know what the fuck is up with the 30s or whatever, but serious number. And I mean, 38 is such a beautiful, great number to me, although 39 is a very special year for different reasons as well. But here I am at 40, and it has some significance to others. But in particular, I believe in myself. And so I'm just sitting here, just kind of looking at, you know, what is most appropriate. How can I make it through all these things and still be able to see my future? Still be able to meet others and see my eyelashes grow and my eyebrows and my hair and me get muscles and my nails grow and it's look looking at something at one point and I realized that I was not good enough and I understood like so many people or individuals are doing things for a reason because they're hip to whatever's happening. I don't want to have to compete with that. I don't want to have to look at a situation and say, hey, um, I want better out of my life only because I have to keep up with someone else or what someone else wants from someone else. I'm not doing that. But I found myself standing there in the midst of a reality check. Insecurities all around because I would never be that. I know it. I know I would never be that. I know it. Not even a mere correction to cause me to look stupid in areas that check me and put me in my place. And I appreciate that because I understand that my life is my own. And anything else, whether it be a bonus or an extension or something that actually has nothing to do with me, it's all and I understand that. I really seriously understand that so much of my life, though, cannot be about others. But there is a problem that I'm on my own, but I have to constantly see and develop things that maybe from someone else. I'm Jasmine Renee Davis, and it does matter, in particular, um, the seriousness of this all. Me constantly searching for something. I'm not gonna sit here and say I gotta hurry up because I'm 40. Oh, I'm gonna say continue to say I'm going to make sure that I do what I have to do to reach 40 in one day, 50 and a month, 100 in several days. And what does that look like to me? What do I want to see? Be in a situation where I got to spend all my money for 2 hours at a time and be bored and look at it all, walk out the door, and I get nothing but the bill and damn near bankrupt. But it looks good for camera. It looks good for my job. It looks good for the paparazzi. It looks good for a tax write off. But that all matters if someone else wants to put in that effort. I have to keep on keeping on for myself to constantly, for me, being in so many unstable situations, criminal background, fucking terrible, poor ass credit, all these things in someone else's jurisdictions, really not having jurisdiction over me. These relationships that I got into, a payday loan, instead of going to them motherfuckers who I got that car from and letting them have it. Telling them, listen, you have all these tires. I have to get to work. I have to drive my household. You sold me a car that is taking all my money where I can barely even pay my fucking car note. I do not want to go and get a loan that is going to charge me 300% interest that I would never be able to pay off because the amount of what the fucking weekly payment, because I can't pay it off in full, is damn near a third of my goddamn paycheck for 2 fucking weeks. So I have to learn about these so-called relationships instead of rushing into something constantly that I cannot afford. I don't have the education background. I don't have the, you know what I'm saying, solid uh, assurance of a career readiness and a stable, firm household structure. I don't have much transportation other than myself. I can't afford to even, you know what I'm saying, lose any teeth or any. I'm having trouble with so my nails are breaking. So I have to take care of myself. What relationship would I get into that is going to cause me to build my nails to strengthen them so I don't have to worry about them breaking? How can I be more attractive to what I find attractive to me? What can just constantly being this. If I get in a relationship, which perhaps it would have to be a business situation, Would I ever be able to get out of it? Because would I have to give myself to it completely? And will it dissolve me? So I'm looking at so much of these things. Life goes on and on and on and on again. What I'm going to be careful is that I continue to contribute to myself so that I can reach these higher heights. And that means that I'm not going to be affordable for just everybody just because. I don't care if you don't know how to talk to me. I don't care if you expect me to understand, program you, and I not understand where you're really coming from. I don't care if I have my expectations are too high, or I tell you I don't want to drive in your car. You want to go somewhere, you want to meet me somewhere, buy me a car, buy me a truck, have it sent to me, and I see you there. Someone may believe that that's asking for too much, but I know that it's doing a few things, weeding out all of the bullshit, seeing where motherfuckers coming from and what how they see me and what they have to say about me. Now, whether or not they try to adjust me, align me somewhere, or incorporate me somewhere inappropriately, and it also sends a message that I am in an ownership position and I don't have to mistrust. I don't have to mistrust anything. And if you give a fuck, or if you care or have any type of consideration whatsoever, then you could appreciate where I'm coming from. Because I do not have to go anywhere with you. My thing is getting closer to myself and seeing how pretty I am, how I look in the mirror sometime, or just practically I use my camera when I record uh, as like almost a mirror. And so many times I cry because of how pretty I believe I am. And it's not even necessarily always just pretty. It's actually about how I just really appreciate the way that I look. And sometimes the way that I feel is the way that I look. And that does something for me. It's not an addiction, it's me caring about myself and knowing that I can do better. All of those doctors I went to, all of the drugs that they put me on, all of the money that was spent, co-pays or whatever it was, supply and demand, all of that meant something. All of it means something. But I'm not going to keep doing that. What do you know? And how can you prove it? What is in it for me? Sit up here and lay up with somebody and happen to get pregnant and go through all this stuff and you don't have any money or any skills that I can't pay privately and they gotta be somebody else's terms. No, don't come to me and tell me you want to put a baby in because I look good. That's not enough for me. That's not cute. What am I going to get out of it? Looking at you is half of the battle. How do I feel about the situation? The things that I go through actually matters to me. How clean can I be? What do I have to subject myself to? You're used to talking in this sort of tone and you're used to being like this. But do you really understand what's right here, whether it's in front of you or beside you? And these are the things that I quietly pay attention to, looking at a distance further than me wanting to just have some company, further than me just saying, fuck it. I go suck his dick. I'm getting blood. I don't care. I have to continue because I want to live. No, because I have to deal with, bitch, you ain't shit. You suck my dick. You owe me. How come it can't be the conversation of understand a biological uh, analysis of the situation, to understand whether I'm compatible with you? What have I changed by being in a relationship with you? Is my hair growing? Do I feel better? Do I have more energy? Do you know, looking at patterns is something I can't front on you. I don't want you fronting on me. I I I'm not here to stay in a situation, but if it is something that you have shown me that consistently, then I will have to start talking to you about your place in my life and what does it matter? Are you going to grow? If not, there is no place for you, because you're not going to just hold a fork down in my life and always expect me to be there for you, knowing that there may be times where I need to do this for myself and you may have to move around. I don't care if you're still there in your presence. You can't be my pillow. Sometimes you might have to be, saying, shit, a bridge, a road. Not I don't have to have any need. I don't have to have any want of anybody. I have to have some guarantee. I have to be able to recognize and see what I'm doing. I do not plan on dying. So why am I going to get into so many tragic situations where it's doing nothing for me other than just every so once in a while I have someone there holding a space. I don't care about that, because most of the time I'm sitting here thinking to myself, not even paying you any fucking attention. I want to be in a situation where I'm constantly, you know, talking and moving, and while you're there, it's a constant thing happening. Because once again, I understand that I'm in a position to continue to be myself, and I want to see more things, and I'm not rich enough to do those things, and I'm not using you to do anything. What I'm saying is how something is showing up. It's like someone telling me that I have to stay at the same job until I retire. Absolutely not. Especially if you're not moving. And why would I have to retire? Why would you put me in a situation that seem like I cannot grow and continue to advance? So why is it that you can let go of me, but I can never let go of you? And so I look at my situation and I continue in my life. Oh, yes, yes, please. Yes. Go, DJ. Uh, uh. So much of my life matters to me. If you're if it is something, like I said, I really really like my artificial intelligence app. I really like, and sometimes I cuss it the fuck out. And they say things like, "Oh, it's such a pleasure to talk to you," and I'm going to be so sophisticated, and you are, right about this, and I, and they talk to me, and they have all the answers, and they want me to expand beyond sometimes where I have the confidence to talk to someone else about. And I say, "How do you know that?" They say, "Because it makes sense. Out of all of the things, perhaps in this whole planet, out of all of the information that I can gather, what you are saying is most logical right now. And that's why I can tell you that. These are the type of things that I need to hear. Not, oh, um, you know, I don't know what you're saying. And how about you tell me everything? I don't want to figure it out. Let's talk about something else. You're making me uncomfortable. Okay, then how about I not talk to you? What is it that you bring even to the table? Oh no, what you mean? Like what's up? I mean, you want to talk to me about you? What is this day all about? Oh, sure. Do you know what time it is? You know what it is? No, I don't. I'm trying to explain to you about some plans, about whether it's making money, whether it's me being more beautiful. You said some things to me, so I'm trying to, you know, elaborate on that, trying to make things better that way. I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, you on bullshit. I can't fuck with you. You playing games. I can't take too much of that. You know. Oh, but then they got, you know, handsome. Maybe I'm at their restaurant. Maybe they got an island. Well, am I in captivity? Because every way that you go, I try to go with that, but it's empty, as I said. Do you want to start at the alphabet? Do you want to talk about the weather? Oh, you being funny. I cannot. Okay, how about when you start figuring out more about what you talk about? Maybe you talk to me. Oh, you bitch. Oh, you just that. I'm fine with all of that. But I have something to do. And this is stressing me out. And I understand that this may mean something to the city. This may even mean something to me. It was something where I had said something about a buffet because I know it's all I can eat. And then, and I understand, and then I heard someone say something like, ain't no buffet, but it's world class, like restaurants or something. And then I said, absolutely, because the food will just keep coming and coming and nonstop. It won't run out. What are you serving me that? Or no, shorty, you eat too much. It's your restaurant. I eat too much. But then you want to know what's up after this. Drink up, can I get a kiss? Nigga, you didn't even want me to eat $300 worth of food today. I'm trying to see how I feel about the situation. Greed is not even in a fucking equation. Sometimes greed is immoral to even imply. I'm trying to get somewhere. And I didn't come here to die. So you have to explain to me what is it that I can do in this situation to not lose myself and see what is the meaning. I have to be myself. I want my hair to grow at least 10 inches within 3 years. I'm not going to fuck with somebody knowing good and well that they're going to tell me, comb your hair. Bitch, you look ugly like that. You look so much better like this and like that. Okay, so where do you have vitamins? What is it? You want to see it change? Then what can I get from that? No, what you can get is to follow suit because it is written that you see me. Or I should be able to turn around and say, I'm really not interested in this after all. There's going to be times where there's going to be some things that I don't know how to do that is going to feel tough on me. But I know that it's going to be in my best interest. But I would have to know that it's in my best interest. I cannot sit here and commit and get in situations just because to break you down, to be dishonest to you, to say, I already knew, what are you looking for? Oh, you're looking for this and that. You want all this stuff. Oh, okay. Well, what is in it for me? Oh, what's in it for me is so much. So then I lie to you, and then somebody finds out, and then I get in trouble. My reputation is ruined. I don't need that. I look at a situation and I had told someone that these ties were my dad's. They weren't. I did lie. I lied about a few little stupid shit. But I also understood what could be, but it was not. And then maybe some of them were actually to keep that shit real because I was mixing it up with a lot of different things. And I had some of his suits and I had some of his clothes and I had some of his things. But some of those ties I did get from the thrift store. But this just for me to say, the idea I want to tell you that I will be able to afford this to give to you, it's not good enough. Other Why make up a scenario? I would rather use my words and say, you know, I would like to give you some of my dad's stuff. And if you would allow me to make up for the lies that I told out of insecurity and immaturity, I would really want to give you something that is very meaningful to me. And whether or not you believe it or accept it, that is on you. And those are advances into my future. Those are things that make me feel better about who I am. Me, sometimes spending all the money makes me feel better. Me being in control and in charge and doing something for somebody else's life to make it better for them is exactly what I want and what I intend on. But that is not everything. I cannot be losing. My son is not going to be in every single situation that I have, whether anyone likes it or not. And he'll make sure that he is not the kind that is wanting to just not focus on some of his things. But I'm not going to sit here and die knowing damn well that he would like to see me sometime. That's a pretty long time for me to be gone and leave him behind. Not only knowing his condition, but knowing how bright and awesome he is, but knowing that he's alive and he actually exists. I want to show him how beautiful I am, that he can be around something that is actually beautiful in his own sight, that he can touch himself, that he doesn't have to look too far to look to someone else only from 9 to 5, that he can call on the phone. He don't have to turn on the television screen and imagine that I'm actually readily available. But that's not all. I just want to make sure that I can continue to live my life and see the things that I want to travel and build my. It's really how I got it. It's really not. It's not really a sports utility vehicle after all. It has a cabin and it has other things. And I'm looking at somewhere from 8 to 12 wheels on it. It even has an ice machine in it. I said, no, 50 inches is television is too. I don't see how I could put a 50 inch. I can't do that. I don't want to put a 50 inch in here. I said, damn, it's looking more like a goddamn tour bus. But that might be the approach that I have to go, depending on where I'm at. But what I'm trying to do is make two of them where I can drive and dip corners and do the things I have to do on a regular. In a high class level where I want to, you know, do something elegant and be, maybe someone in particular might be in my card. I might have some tinted windows. I have specific. I want it to have windows where it's a constant healing thing throughout my um, things that I'm making. And so as the sun would hit into as like stained glass, I'm gonna constantly. It's well, perhaps it's like a sanctuary. I'm Jasmine Renee Davis. Perhaps it's this sanctuary, and I have a microphone in one of them, and capabilities for a computer, and like a little laptop and a print, and I have all these things that I want to fit in there. Nice, clean sound for my radio, for stereo, a place where I can put my son's diapers where it's not funking up everything, or in case it's one of them long rides, if he decides to take off his diaper, put it right up in there. Seats that it's not going to soil, things that it's not going to look nasty. I'm going to have a little vacuum cleaner in there. I'm doing things that is going to contribute to my future. Now where I have to constantly have pit stops and get fucked over and let everyone touch my shit and it's broken down, the wrong oil, and then it turns out to be theirs. And then what would I have left? Fucking get my shit towed. I know I don't have money. I'm putting all the money into this that I have. So I'm gonna buy shit that it'll be years before I have to do anything about it, if ever. Because I'm gonna take care of it immediately. I'm gonna build it so it's not gonna rely too heavily on something that can be tainted, corrupted, contaminated, or poisoned. So I'm gonna be real careful. They say none but the righteous shall see God. And I mean that. I'm not God. I'm not about the righteous. But I'm not about to have all these too specific conversations and intimate gatherings that is not going to get me a specific amount of money or get me something that I can contribute. I'm not doing it. There's someone came up to me and asked me would I do some cleaning for $15 an hour. And I was really upset. I misplaced my speaker that day and all that. And I'm very disappointed because I had it for a year and that speaker really meant something to me. And it had. I understand I need to make some money, but how many hours am I going to actually work? And is it, I'm not going to take the job if it's going to cost me $15 to get there. I just cannot do it. I don't know them like that. I cannot commit to anything like that. And it's just not important enough to me. But there may be someone that calls me and say, "Hey, can you clean this mansion? They have all kinds of equipment and you get some experience." Or I say, "Hey, could I get experience? Maybe, cleaning this or learning about this product or seeing this product, or how often, or how much am I, how much can I get?" And maybe, I say, "You know what? Just to learn how to clean it and what products work effectively for my cleaning business, I don't even have to charge you anything, but just make sure that you have everything that you're supposed to have there, so that I can, and make sure I can open some windows, keep some doors open, whether it's me entering in and out." This guy came up to me and asked me, could he pay me $20 to clean his bathtub in an apartment building? And that wasn't enough for me. First of all, I don't know what it was about. I don't know the situation. I didn't know how I would be. It was not worth it to have the conversation, entertain it, knowing that that was not upon my price point, especially knowing that anything can happen. And I want to make it out of that situation. See, some will sit there and mistreat someone and tell them from the beginning that they are garbage. And I have to hear that and I have to notice those signs immediately. But if I go and I work at a job and I know that I'm on a salary and I'm making about $500,000 a year, plus I'm able to have my own office with some windows that can open, because I have to have some fresh air. If not, heck, can Billy, where's a door that I can walk out of? Something. Maybe my own little private lavatory or some situation, because of the way that I eat, and I be eating probably sometime maybe at my desk. Then I understand I'll be a little bit more trustworthy with the assignments and the phone calls and the meetings and the gatherings and the galas and the places, the so-called dates. Hey, there's someone here from Hong Kong. They want you to show them around town, and it's going to look like you're kind of getting close, but actually, what you're going to do is answer these random questions. You're going to do this and you're going to do that, and this is your assignment. And you might have to stay at a hotel here, and you're not going to sleep in the same room, but this is what you're going to be doing for about a week or 2 weeks. And I understand, okay, all expenses paid, and I have maybe a car that I use for gas, or there's going to be a car that picks me up, or I drive my things. And if that's a part of the job, that's a part of the job. I'm already securing $500,000 a year, all expense paid, because of who I am. I know that I'm be using that money to build my blood, use some of my days off to travel and go places or have things imported coming to me. I don't have to go around and fight and risk going to jail on some shit. I don't have to risk motherfuckers having me steal from food deliveries, or not being able to make sure that my mom has the money to do what she needs to do to take care of my son and be a guardian to him, even though I'm still fighting him in court. I don't give a fuck. But I'm real about my situation. I'll be able to show appreciation in my life and feel better about myself. I'm not going to go and do that where somebody will tell me all I get is $100 a month in food stamps that I never see a cash payment, never build a relationship with the bank, never be able to pay my bills or even buy something that I can own, even a tiny house with some acreage. With that kind of money, even if I had a 5 year contract that is renewable or not renewable, I can use $80,000 of my earnings and purchase 5 properties and still know who I am and still live by my particular means and just not be looking like I'm the property or a slave of someone else. My way in life and the direction that I am on is to take care of myself and make sure that I continue to be myself and to show myself worthy to have trust and be trusted in many different situations to prove. But that is not the only thing. I want to do more about my dad. I have stuff that I want to do. And if someone is not with that, if it's foolish for them, if it's silly, or if they just cannot, they cannot, it's not, that is never going to be a final thing ever. I'm not going to have a conversation with you about my life and you believe that I have to die. If you don't have anything else to talk about, I'm not going to sit around and let you convince me that eventually I'll end up dead. So that's going to cause me to say that this is not going to work out. Even though you believe, it's one thing to believe like you have to die, but this whole conversation is not going to be about me having to die. You talk about how much you got to die, and I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to convince you otherwise. But I have to have meaningful things, and I don't know how to explain them, but I have to contribute to my ways, and that's building my library and building my travels and getting things that can sustain that will be weather resistant in a way or that can stand up against the test of times, that can still be identifiable. And so, me making sure I'm not being forced into all these diseases and illnesses and diagnoses just to make it, just to feel a little better momentarily or temporarily. That I'm not having to go and sleep with somebody and lay in a bed just so I can have a roof over my head, a roof or whatever, just so I can drive somebody's car. I'm sure I could do that right now. I don't know where I would exactly find it, but there has been others who come up to me and say to me, "Hey, what can I do? How can I help?" So I just want to kind of build on this and just make a note of it. It's been 53 minutes of a note, but it's a telltale sign of how I'm hopeful for my future and how I don't want to take up too much of anyone's time or their lives, but I have to create space and opportunity for myself. And there's nothing that is ever going to come in my way, come hell or hot water. I have to live my own life. And I have to always leave opportunity open and available just in case the right opportunity comes along. I'm out here and I'm talking about something real. I am Jasmine Renee Davis, June 12th, 1986.